Hello. Okay, I'm checking my voice. Okay, it's coming. Okay, we will start the fucking stream now. And I think I want to consistent. I have brought a new mic because my mic quality was below trash. It was trash, man. It was trash. Okay, wait. Checking the stream quality from my mobile because my first stream were literally no voice, nothing. Okay, hello. Okay, I think I am back with better equipment, better shit. Let's read the Constitution of India. Uh, Whatever, man. The previous recordings were pretty much trash, and it is the way it is. Okay, I didn't know that mic will not work. That's why I brought a new mic, and I'm gonna stream now. Continue consistently, and I don't know, man. We will react to philosophical content, economics, and maybe political content too. As I don't know how will it go, but it will be almost daily streams. Timing, I don't know what will be the timing of it, but I will try to be consistent. Obviously, there are no viewers, so we have some spice. We will add some spice to bring viewers. Okay. Ultimately, I want people to see this. I don't want to fucking scream in the void. Like my last streams, it will just scream in the fucking wire in the wild. This I will try. Okay. I've changed the channel name. Now it will be Nomad Philosopher. I think I will continue with that name for quite a while. Maybe future name change. I don't know, man. Maybe I will change in future too. But let's start the reading, man. It is already 5 minutes. I I will try to go for 1 hour. Hope the electricity of my area doesn't gets cut off or something like that. Otherwise, the stream will end. Yeah, this happens, man. I will try to read it for 1 hour, not more, man. Yes, the future readings I will try to read it till 2 3 hours, but now I just wanna start the wheel that has stopped for quite a while and just do it for 1 hour. So let's start. Last time we left it here. I think it doesn't even matter. Nobody gonna watch it. It is the recording. The voice is pretty trash. We have the new reading software here, Read Set. So here we can easily, search the meaning of the words, because last time it was, I don't know the jurisprudence meaning of the word. So it was law related words. I don't know that. So it was getting little bit difficult for me. I'm better with a I'm back with a better reading software. Uh, uh, I think last time we left here. Let me check last time where we left. I don't wanna fucking read this once again. 181. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it is pretty much here. We left it. We what? Who the fuck is the we? I left it, man. I left it there. You know. Okay. Is it better this way? Let me see on the mobile. Okay, it is better this way. It you can easily read it. Okay. We will try different colors. Do you want pink constitution? Wait, pink constitution. Wait, pink constitution, man. Okay, I've got to read with this. Pink constitution. Pink lips, pink lips. Okay. During the absence of chairman from any sitting of the council of the deputy chairman, or if he also is also absent, such as person may determine by the rules of procedure of the council, or in if no such person is present, such other person as may determined by the council shall act as a chairman. Okay. Article 185. The chairman or the deputy chairman not to preside while resolution for his removal from office is under consideration. Clause 1. At any setting, the Legislative Council, why any resolution for removal of the chairman from his office is under consideration. The chairman, or while any resolution for the removal of the deputy chairman from his office is under consideration, the deputy chairman shall not, though he is present, preside, and the provision of clause 2 of Article 184 shall apply in relation to every such setting as they applied in relation to a setting from which chairman, the chairman, or as the case may be, the deputy chairman is absent. Okay. pretty unimportant for us, I guess. The chairman shall have the right to speak in and otherwise to take part in proceedings of the legislative council while any resolution for his removal from office is under consideration in the council and shall notwithstanding anything in article 189 be entitled to vote only in the first instance on such resolution or any other matter during such proceeding, but not in the case of equality of votes. Yeah, it is not happening, man. It is this fucking article is stupid. Okay. Salaries and allowances of the speaker and deputy speaker and the chairman and the deputy chairman. There shall be paid to the speaker and the deputy speaker of the legislative assembly and to the chairman and the deputy chairman of the legislative council. Such salaries and allowances as may be respectively fixed by the legislature state by law and until provision in the half in that behalf is so made. Such salaries and allowances are as specified in section schedule. Like you can just write a book for another book for salaries and all these things. Why you are putting in it Indian constitution? I think it just should be kachak 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 important laws, and this salaries should be a book of salaries of the speakers, and that should be that book, man. Salary book. Uh, the salary book of Indian government employees. Yeah, it should be like that. How will be their salary decided on that all that thing? This is an important document, man. You can just their salary will be decided by this. Yeah, I think it is pretty stupid, man. I think it's pretty fucking stupid. Article 187. Secretariat Secretariat of State Legislature. Clause 1. The House or each House of the Legislature of State shall have a separate secretarial staff, provided that nothing in this clause shall, in the case of legislature of the state having a legislature council, be construed as preventing the creation of post common to both houses of such legislature. Clause 2. The legislature of a state may, by law, regulate the recruitment and the condition of service of persons appointed to the secretarial staff of the house or houses of the legislature of the state. Okay. Okay, what the fuck is Secretariat of State Legislature? Okay, wait, we have to Google it. Uh, this the Secretary is the independent permanent. अबे जा रहे यार. Okay, wait. You wanna also see that? Wait. What the fuck, man? Okay. I think now we can see that clearly. The Secretariat of State Legislature is the independent permanent administrative body that manages the internal operations, legislative procedures, and staff support for states' lawmaking assembly. It safeguards the legislature autonomy by ensuring it function without interference from executive branch of government. Okay. Legislative support organizes sessions, prepares agendas, the proceedings, and the introduction and passing of bills. Administration operation manages logistics such as scheduling legislative committees, hold handling official documents, and coordinating with government minutes. Member services, administrative facilities, handle salaries, travel allowances, and medical reimbursement for current and former legislature. In India, this body is constitutionally mandated by Article guarantees that each house of state legislature their own separate dedicated secretarial staff. Okay, I think it is an important position. The legislature of state may by law regulate the recruitment and the condition of service of persons appointed to the secretarial staff of the house or houses of legislature of state. Clause 3, Article 187, I guess. Until provision is made by the legislature of the state under Clause 2, the governor may, after consultation with the Speaker of the Legislative Assembly or the Chairman of the Legislative Council, as the case may be, make rules regulating the recruitment and the condition of service of persons appointed to the secretarial staff of the Assembly or the Council, and any rules so made shall have effect subject to the provisions of any law made under the said clause. Oh man. Ah man, this is pretty unimportant for like this is not that important, like whatever, I don't care about it. Article 188, oath or affirmation by members. Every member of the Legislative Assembly or Legislative Council of State shall, before taking his seat, make and subscribe before the governor or some person appointed in that behalf by him an oath or affirmation according to the form set out for the purpose in the third schedule. It is. I mean, like do these votes and whatever you do they fucking work? I don't think so. Article 189, voting in houses. Power of houses to act notwithstanding vacancies and quorum. Clause 1, save as otherwise provided in this constitution. All question at any sitting of house of the legislature of the state shall be determined by majority of votes of the members present and voting, other than the speaker or chairman or person acting as such. The speaker or chairman or person acting as such shall not vote in the first instance, but shall have and exercise a casting vote in the case of an equality of votes. Okay, it doesn't even happen, man. It doesn't even happen. Like equality of vote happens and the really, I don't know we can do this. The speaker Okay, clause 2, article 189. A house of the legislature of state shall have power to act notwithstanding any vacancy in the membership thereof, and any proceedings in the legislature of state shall be valid notwithstanding that it is discovered subsequently that some person who was not entitled to so to sat or voted or otherwise took part in the proceedings. Clause 3. Until the legislature of the state by law otherwise provide the quorum to constitute a meeting of a house of the legislature of state shall be 10 members or 1/10 of the total member of members of the house, whichever is greater. Clause 4. If at any time during a meeting of legislative assembly or the legislative council of state there is no quorum, it shall be duty it shall be the duty of the speaker or chairman or person acting as such either to adjourn the house or to suspend the meeting until there is a quorum. Okay, what is the mean? A select body of usually eminent justices of the peace, every member of which had to be present, constituting deciding body. A member of this body, later generally all justices shall be two. Okay, the minimum number of members required for a group to officially conduct business and to cast votes, often but not necessarily a majority or super majority. We can discuss the issue tonight, but cannot vote until we have a quorum. Okay, basically requiring a majority, I guess. Basically, like, yeah, minimum members required to, I think, have a discussion. That means a quorum. The Constitution of India, Part 6. Hope my Roman numbers are not fucked up and I am pronouncing it correctly. Uh, okay, I think it's Part 6, man. Okay. I mean, long time I didn't use Roman numbers. It has been a long time. Disqualification of members. Article 190. Vacation Vacation of seats. Clause 1. No person shall be a member of both houses of the legislature of state. And provision shall be made by the legislature of the state by law for the vacation by a person who is chosen a member of both houses of his seat, one house or another. Clause 2. No person shall be a member of the legislature of two or more states specified in the first schedule. And if a person is chosen a member of the legislature of two or more such states, then at the expiration of such period as may be specified rules made by president, that person's seat in the legislature of all such states shall be become vacant unless he has previously resigned his seat in the legislature of all but one of the states. Okay, basically you can't be, everywhere. Every seat can't go to you of every state. You can just be in legislature of a member of legislature in one state, I guess. Uh, yeah, that's why we don't have, what MLAs from two states, same person being a MLA in two different states, I guess. Keep a member of house MLA, what is member of Legislative Assembly? Yeah. If a member of House of the Legislature of State, subclause A, becomes subject to any of the disqualification mentioned in clause 1 or clause 2 of Article 191, or B, resign his seat by writing under his hand addressed to the Speaker or the Chairman, as the case may be, and his resignation is accepted by the Speaker or the Chairman, as the case may be, his seat shall thereupon become vacant. Yeah, okay. Provided that in the case of any resignation referred to in subclause B, if form information received or otherwise, and after make such inquiry as he thinks fit, the Speaker or the Chairman, as the case may be, is satisfied that such resignation not voluntary or genuine, B, he shall not accept such resignation. Oh man. Okay, my throat has gone dry. I will drink some water. Okay, wait for some minute. I will be back. I'm back. Provided that in computing that said period of 60 days, no account shall be taken of any period during which the house is prorogued or is adjourned. Parliamentary term prorogation. In the Westminster system of the government is the action of proroguing or interrupting a parliament or the discontinuous meetings for a given period of time without a dissolution of parliament. The term is also used for the period of such a discontinuous between two legislative sessions of a legislative body, or is adjourned for more than four consecutive days. Article The Constitution of India, Part 6. Wait, man, I don't want to be, making fucking wrong pronunciations. It looks like 6, but I want to check it. I want to check. Uh, Roman numerals. Okay. Yeah, it is 6. Okay, thanks God. At least I remember something. Part 6 that states 191. Article 191 Disqualification for membership. Clause 1, a person shall be disqualified for being chosen as and for being a member of the Legislative Assembly or Legislative Council of State. A. Clause subclause A. If he holds any office or profit under the government of India or the government of any state specified in the first schedule, other than an office declared by the legislature of the state by law not to disqualify its holder. Okay. Subclause B. If he is unsound mind and stands so declared by a competent court. Like it pretty much disqualifies most politicians, man. Like, I don't think they are sound mind in any form. Motherfuckers are literally unsound. Like recently a MLA, shot up another MLA in police station. How the fuck these people are sound? They are unsound, man. They are not sound. Insane or sane? Unsound mind. If he is undischarged insolvent. Okay, what the fuck that means, man? Debt obligations. Okay. Okay, maybe. Why the fuck it is not so? Okay. If he is not a citizen of India or has voluntarily acquired the citizen of a foreign state or is under any acknowledgement of alliance or adherence to foreign state. Okay. Subclause E. If he is so disqualified by or under any law made by Parliament. Explanation. For the purpose of this clause, a person shall not be deemed to hold an office of profit under the government of India or the government of any state specified in the first schedule, by reason only that he is a minister either of for the union or such state. I don't know what amendment. I guess it is amendment. A person shall be disqualified for being a member of the legislative assembly or legislative council of a state if he is disqualified under the 10th schedule. Okay, what the fuck is 10th schedule? Okay, wait, we will search it and find out. The 10th schedule of the Indian Constitution, popularly known as anti-defection, sought to establish the rule for disqualifying members of parliament, MPs, and members of legislative assemblies, MLAs, if they switch political party, act against directives, or fail to follow the party whip. Okay, that is pretty much irrelevant now. Like, I mean, they don't follow anything now. Like, the it happens as the main central, ruling party wants to be, which is the BJP now. It was added by the 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act in 1985 to curb political instability caused by the frequent floor crossing. Grounds for disqualification and elected legislature is disqualified if they voluntarily give up their party membership or vote abstain in the House contrary to their party's direction without prior permission. Exception under the 91st Amendment, a party's merger with another is permitted only if at least two-thirds of the legislature party members agree to it. Authority. Decisions regarding the disqualification of are determined by the Speaker or the chairman of the respective house. Okay. Okay. I mean, this law is pretty much thrown away in garbage today. Yeah, this law is pretty much thrown away now. Decision Article 192. Decision on questions put as to disqualification of members. Clause 1. If any question arises as to whether a member of House of Legislature of State has become subject to any of the disqualification mentioned in Clause 1 of Article 191, the question shall be referred for the decision of the governor and its decision shall be final. Okay, okay. So, clause 2. Before giving any decision on any such question, the governor shall obtain the opinion of the election commission and shall act according to such opinion. I mean, the governor will be ruling parties, then it doesn't even fucking matter, man. They gamed the system, man. The BJP gamed the system. They are, they gamed the system, man. They pretty much, yeah, the loopholes, they find the loopholes and gamed it. You can cry about constitution, but they gamed it. Now they can break any parties and they can do pretty much. They can do whatever they want, man. Like, yeah. Article 193. Article 193. Penalty for sitting and voting before making oath or affirmation under Article 188 or when not qualified or when disqualified. If a person sits or votes as a member of the Legislative Assembly or the Legislative Council of a state before he has complied with requirements of Article 188 or when he knows that he is not qualified or that he is disqualified for membership thereof or that he is prohibited from doing so by the provisions of any law made by Parliament or the legislature of the state, he shall be liable in respect of each day on which he sits or votes to a penalty of 500 rupees to be recovered as debt due to the state. 500 rupees. Now the penalty is 500 rupees, not jail, anything. Like, it is pretty much irrelevant. They are, maybe they have to change this, make at least 5 lakhs. Yeah, I think it just hasn't changed since when it was written. Yeah, man, and also these rules are pretty stupid. These rules are stupid, man. Powers, privileges, and immunities of state legislature and their members. Article 194. powers, privileges, etc. of the houses of the legislatures and of the cumbers and communities thereof. Committees, not communities thereof. 1. Clause 1. Subject to the provisions of this constitution and to the rules and standing orders regulating the procedure of the legislature. There shall be freedom of speech in the legislature of every state. Clause 2. No member of the legislature of state shall be liable to any proceedings in any court in respect of anything said or any vote given by him in the legislature or any committee thereof, and no person shall be so liable in respect of the publication by or under the authority of house of such a legislature of any report, paper, votes or proceedings. Clause 3. In other respect, the power, privileges, and immunities of house of the legislature of state and of members and the committees of a house of such legislature shall be as may from time to time defined by the legislature by law and till so defined shall be those of that house and of its member and committees immediately before the coming into force of section 26 of the constitution 44th amendment act 1978. 4. The provision of clauses 1, 2, and 3 shall apply in relation persons who by virtue of this constitution have the right to speak and otherwise to take part in proceedings of house of the legislature of state or any committee thereof as they apply in relation to members of that legislature. Subs by constitution act is that follows. 3. In other respect the power, privilege and powers of I guess. Article 195. Salaries and allowances of members. Members of the Legislative Assembly and the Legislative Council of State shall be entitled to receive such salaries and allowances as may from time to time determined by the legislature of the state by law and until provision in that respect is so made. Salaries and allowances at such rates and upon such condition as were immediately before the commencement of this constitution applicable in the case of members of the legislative assembly of the corresponding province. Okay, maybe state-wise MLAs have different salaries. Maybe I don't know. Legislative procedure. Article 196. Provision as to introduction and passing of bills. Clause 1. Subject to the provisions of Article 198 and 207 with respect to money bills. And other financial bills. A bill may originate in either house of the legislature of a state which has a legislative council, subject to the provisions of Article 197 and 198. A bill shall not be deemed to have been passed by the houses of legislature of state having a legislative council unless it has been agreed by both houses either without amendment or with such amendment only as are agreed by the both houses. Clause 3. A bill pending in the legislature of state shall not lapse by reason of prorogation of the house or houses thereof. Clause 4. A bill pending in the legislative council of a state which has not been passed by the legislative assembly shall not lapse on dissolution of the assembly. A bill which is pending in the legislature assembly of state or which having passed by the legislative assembly pending in the legislative council shall lapse on dissolution of the assembly. Article 197. Restriction on powers of the legislative council as to bills other than many bills. Clause 1. If after a bill has been passed by the legislative assembly of state having a legislative council and transmitted to the legislative council, A. The bill is rejected by the council, or subclause B. More than 3 months elapse from the date on which the bill is laid before the council without the bill being passed by it, or subclause C. The bill is passed by the council with amendments to which the legislative assembly does not agree. The legislative assembly may, subject to the rules regulating its procedure, pass the bill again in the same or in any subsequent session with or without such amendments, if any, or has have been made, suggested or agreed to by the legislative council, and then transmit the bill as so passed to the legislative council. Okay, legislative council and legislative assembly both matter similarly, and if you have to pass the law, you need approval of both of this council and assembly, I guess. I don't know, man. I'm not a expert on anything. I'm just a guy who is reading it. That too first time, man. I'm not even familiar with the law languages and all these things. So, and so far I am disappointed in the constitution. Okay. How much I'm in? Okay, I'm 120 pages in. At least I am one fourth of the book in, and I am not impressed by the Constitution of India. It has so many loopholes, weaknesses. Like I have even forgotten the weaknesses, but I know there are literally weaknesses, straight up bad things written in the Constitution. Yeah, the freedom of speech and all these are not that much strong. Nobody is asking for absolute freedom of speech, but it is very restricted. Yeah, there is some article somewhere before this. Maybe I have to go find that. But there is such, freedom of speech and that, and the many people say there is free education article in this, but it is just a suggestion. It is not mandatory for the state to do that. It's just a suggestion. It is not mandatory. So yeah, I am pride man. My vocal cords are in little bit of pain as I don't speak English that much, nor do I read on a mic. I do read it, but I read in my mind, not on mic. The Legislative Assembly may, subject to the rules regulating its procedure, pass the bill again in the same or in any subsequent session with or without such amendments, if any has been made. I think I already read that. Okay. Nothing in this article shall apply to money bill. Okay. Money bills, I think, have some special things about them. Article 190, a special procedure in respect of money bills. Clause 1. A money bill shall not be introduced in legislative council. Okay. It cannot be introduced legislative council. Wait, I know assembly. I also know legislative council. Okay. A legislative council, commonly known as Vidhan Parishad in India, is the upper house in the state legislature of those states that have a uh, bicameral system functioning similar to Rajya Sabha at the national level. It plays an advisory and revising role in the state lawmaking. Locations: only 6 Indian states currently maintain a legislative council: Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Telangana, and Uttar Pradesh. Permanent body: unlike the lower house legislative assembly, the council is not subject to dissolution. It constitutes a chamber which each member serves a 6 year term and one third of member retire every 2 years. Size: the total number of members cannot exceed one third of the total members in states legislative assembly, and it must have a minimum of 40 members. Yeah, that's why only 6 states have, I guess, because only 6 states can fulfill the one third of the total members rule, I guess. Member composition: members MLCs are indirectly elected or nominated rather than chosen by the general public. They represent local governing body, teachers, graduates, and members of the legislative assembly with rest nominated by state governor. Okay. Okay, man. Clause 2. After a money bill has been passed by the legislative assembly of a state having a legislative council, it shall be transmitted to the legislative council for its recommendation, and the legislative council shall within a period of 14 days from the date of its receipt of the bill return the bill to the legislative assembly with its recommendations, and legislative assembly may thereupon either accept or reject all or any of other recommendation of the legislative council. Clause 3. If the legislative assembly accept any of the recommendation of the legislative council, the money bill shall be deemed to have been passed by both houses with amendments recommended by the legislative council and accepted by the legislative assembly. Clause 4. If the legislative assembly does not accept any of the recommendation of the legislative council, recommendation of the legislative council, the money bill shall be deemed to have been passed by both houses to and by from which it was passed by the legislative assembly without any amendments recommended by the legislative council. Clause 5. If a money bill passed by the legislative assembly and transmitted to the legislative council for its recommendation is not returned to the legislative assembly within the said period of 14 days, it shall be deemed to have been passed by both houses at the expiration of the expiration of said period in the form in which it was passed by the legislative assembly. Okay. Basically, I guess in the money bills, the legislative council's opinion doesn't matter. uh, Article 199, definition of money bills. Clause 1. For the purposes of this chapter, a bill shall be deemed a money bill if it contains only provisions dealing with all or any of the following matters, namely Clause 1. The imposition of pollution, remission, alteration, or regulation of any tax. B. Subclause B. The regulation of the borrowing of money or the giving of any guarantee by the state or the amendment of law with respect to any financial obligation undertaken by the state. Okay. The subclause C. The custody of the consolidated fund or the contingency fund by the state. The payment of monies into or withdrawal of monies from any such fund. Okay. एक्सेस नहीं कर सकते, ये नहीं कर सकते. Consolidated fund or the considered contingency fund. D. Subclause D. The appropriation of monies out of the consolidated fund of the state. E. Subclause E. The declaring of any expenditure to expenditure charge on the consolidated fund of the state, or the increasing of the amount of any such expenditure. Subclause F. The receipt of money on account of the. Subclause ये नहीं है, this is just clause I guess. सब क्लॉज तो इसका भी एक सब क्लॉज आने वाला है फिर. इट इज नॉट सब क्लॉज, इट इज जस्ट क्लॉज. क्लॉज एप. द रिसिप्ट ऑफ मनी ऑन अकाउंट ऑफ consolidated fund of the state or the other public account of the state, or the custody or issue of such money or any matter incidental to any matters of specified in subclauses A to F. Clause, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is subclause actually. Clause 2. A bill shall not be deemed to be money bill by reason only that it provide for the imposition of fines or other pecuniary penalties, or for the demand or payment of fees for licenses or fees for services rendered, or by reason that it provides for the imposition, abolition, remission, alteration, or regulation of any tax by any local authority or body for local purposes. Okay. So basically, your municipal fines or taxes are not in the money bill. Okay. As I read it, everything is in the money bill. Three. If any question arises whether a bill introduced in the legislature of a state which has the legislative council is a mean money bill or not, the decision of the speaker of the legislative assembly of such state thereon shall be final. Okay. Clause 4. There shall be indorost. Okay. Indrost. Indrost. There shall be indrost on every money bill when it is transmitted to the legislative council under Article 198, and when it is presented to the governor for assent under Article 200. The certificate of the speaker of the legislative assembly signed by him, that is a money bill. It is a money bill. Okay. We are gonna stop at 199, and I can continue for a while. Maybe I should I read 200? No, I don't think so. I just wanted to stream, after a long time. Anyway, I'm gonna stream regularly from now on. So I'm gonna stop now. I can go on. I can go on, but I am not gonna go on. I'm shutting down now.